Okay, welcome back to the E-Managerial website. I'm Professor San. Today I wish to share with you what is the top 15 root cause of the year. This is the common root cause that most likely that the IT auditor, IT reassessor, or IT assurance always identify those kind of risks. So I come up with the top 15 root cause that may auditor raise as audit observation or or risk identification during the reassessment. So uh, there are 15 root cause that involve with the implementation of security management on the information security. So number one, the common lapses involved with the insufficient appreciation of IT risk by board or top management. This is the area that management may not emphasize on the very function on the organization. So the the structure of the risk management may not fulfill comply with the standard requirement or may break the regulator requirement. So I think that most of small business or SME business may not emphasize on the agriculture. So uh, the infrastructure of the IT may not strengthen, and a lot of issue uh, occurs during the reassessment due to the management did not focus on the agriculture establishment. So sometimes management they focus on the cost saving, did not sustain the business with the risk management awareness culture. So this area can cause a lot of issue within the organization. So the number two is absence of implement disaster recovery plan. This is very important that the organization need to understand what is risk involved with the uh, business activity. So the business should have the disaster recovery plan. In the strategy or the business can assume the business process during the crisis or during the system disruption, during the business operation. So the IT steering committee need to enforce the IT operation to establish the IT recovery strategy, such as IT contingency plan, rollback plan, or fallback plan, or reassessment whether the disaster recovery plan are fully comprehensive address for all the system that have ability to recovery during the crisis, meaning that the operation or production system could not be available at the moment. So the system will fail over to the alternative system or alternative infrastructure to ensure the business can assume. So the number three is inadequate control over the user access or privilege access. This is very important that most of organizations may not emphasize on this particular control, that did not monitor on the section management, did not address on a certain period of access, did not review on the user privilege or user right, or did not maintain the user profile or matrix, whether the access in line with the need to know basis or need to have basis or need to access basis based on the standard requirement, For example, business unit request the privilege for their staff, so the IT department just accommodate when they obtain the request form. So the IT security just grant permission without perform independent judgment. So the grant permission will lead to unauthorized access in case of the UT is not met the job description. So this particular control need to be fulfilled and need to be monitored on all access and all movement. So the number 4 is inadequate of IT reassessment and robust control implementation. So sometimes the organization may not emphasize on the risk culture to conduct the regular reassessment, such as penetration testing, or they conduct the uh, team risk exercise to ensure that all infrastructure and system are fully addressed on the loophole of flaw to ensure that we can put the robust control to mitigate the risk and let we emphasize on the control activity after they got the reassessment result that they need to present to the risk committee or senior management on the existing vulnerability infrastructure and system. So this area they need to conduct the penetration test at least one per year on the critical system like a system upgrade or data migration or the new project involved with the e-commerce involved with the in the business transaction. So the IT security need to put a lot of initiative and effort to conduct the regular risk assessment such as system penetration test or the red team exercise. So the number 5 is absence of control monitoring and evaluation on the inherent risk on the top risk. So sometimes the IT security may not monitor on access from the external source such as IDS or IPS or checkpoint firewall or content filtering or proxy management or domain controller or storage system, something like that. So IT security need to review the audit log as a regular basis. It depends on the critical or system. It depends on the volume of access. So this area may not emphasized by the reassessor or IT compliance that lead to a fraudulent activity or could not detect the fraudulent activity on time is the monitoring control was not strengthened. So the number 6 is a failure to implement the IT system and IT infrastructure. So this area may not incur in case of the in detail, not in detail in the work down structure. Sometimes project manager did not uh, uh, provide or training to the project team to implement the critical system. So the engineer may mistakenly perform the system rollout or deployment to the critical system or critical network device. So the potential of error can caused by the staff or the engineer that did not aware of the activity in detail or misunderstanding during the project deployment. So the number 7 is a control reliant on vendor or third party. Most of organizations they rely on the vendor. For example, the organization A they have the contract with the third party to conduct the quarterly preventive maintenance at the offsite ATM. For just for example, when the maintenance uh, execution. So the engineer from the vendor go directly to the outside ATM, but our staff did not fully stand by from the start point to the end point. So the third party or vendor engineer may perform malicious activity or can put the malware into the ATM machine or CDM machine, so we'll trigger the time to set the logic bomb, so the case can spill out automatically at the specific time. And then this is just for example. So the organization should address this kind of risk and let our staff need to fully accompany with for all activity that performed by IT vendor. So the number 8 is indirect way safeguard sensitive and uh, uh, confidential data. So sometimes the organization may miss out to create the policy and procedure that involve with the bring your own device policy, or involve with the acceptable use policy, or involve with the user responsibility policy for any access of the data. So the organization should establish the bring your own device policy to mitigate the risk involved with the access on the sensitive data or confidential data. So the number 9 is a poor in full HA implementation. Sometimes the organization did not focus on the technological control to ensure that the system uptime can up to the 99.99%. It means the zero downtime. 1 year the system can down only the 3 or 5 minutes only. So the full HA, we need to focus on technology, people, and process. It's not only technology, it's not only the system clustering, it's not only the system redundancy, it's not only the technology that fail over from production to the so we need to add on process and people. So the people, we need to have the successor plan, ensure that the principal only the release custodian will be automatically take over from the principal custodian. And also the process is a plan A does not work, so the plan B automatically execution. So the full HA we can consider on 3 parts. One is technology, and the second is a process, and the third one is a people. So the number 10 is also the common lapses on the outlet of the IT policy and procedure. So sometimes the organization may not emphasize on the internal regulation to ensure that the policy are timely reviewed and endorsed by senior management. So the organization should have the proper policy framework to ensure that internal control are fulfilled and up to date. So the number 11 is an insufficient awareness program on information security. This is a common lapses that the organization may not put a lot of effort to strengthen the risk culture or awareness culture. So let the business user aware on the information security breach. They need to comply strictly. So the IT compliant or IT assurance need to conduct the reassessment on this area. So the number 12 is the lapses in retaining experienced IT professional. Sometimes the organization did not focus on the professional skill set from the expertise function, so they may not obtain the qualified applicant or qualified staff. They have the seniority, So the organization should maintain the qualified staff to ensure that the IT functions are fulfilled and there is no interruption during the implementation of the critical project. So the, uh, the certain area is a lapses in the super and root ID handling. This is a common lapses that most organizations did not focus on super and root ID. Sometimes the engineer can can perform the root ID or super ID without approving authority, or only the one custodian can access this area. So the organization should split the user ID from left and right and different person. One is a checker and one is a maker and one is a authorizer as a operation by one requirement for the standard implementation. So for any access of the root ID or super ID, we need to split left part under the principal custodian and right part under the supervisor or authorized person to ensure that we uh, reduce the chance of the fraudster. So the last one is weakness uh, in implementing data loss prevention program. This is very important that we maintain the CIA security framework, confidentiality, integrity, and vulnerability. So the data loss prevention program may focus on three critical areas. One is application, the second is physical, and the third one is a network. So the application may lead to IM, instant messenger, email, or peer-to-peer connection. So the physical area like a printer, USB, copy and pass, something like that. And the network area may be bridge to the component that allow the infrastructure to use Wi-Fi or unsecure protocol, something like that. And the last lapses is lapses in the cyber security defense and deep. So the organization may not establish on this area to protect the cyber security attacks from the external factor. So the organization need to come up with this initiative to ensure that we can protect the security breach from the cyber attack. So this is just a principle information that I quote and present whatever involved with common lapses. So the 15 root cause of the year that I present in a moment is a lot of issue that that lead to financial law or business interruption, and also exposed to the legal liability risk. So thank you so much for watching my video. Please like and share.